Welcome to Manor and Maker, where we're getting the doors ready for our new guests, and in between instruction sessions we're enjoying fantastic food and a lovely wine tasting, and then we're getting ready for a cool new retreat.
Because the weather's being a little unpredictable right now, it's quite cloudy out and has rained a little bit today, I've decided I'm going to paint indoors for the trim bits. So I have got the good old little green paint. So this is the travertine light that we chose for the doors and the inserts. Of course, we're doing the marine for the shutters. So anyway, I've got a setup here with a table, and I'm just gonna do a quick sanding on the trellis unit, and then we'll get some paint on it. Well, there it is. I have done one side, and in fact, two sides of the trellis of the inserts. And that paint, little green paint, we absolutely adore it. It is such a wonderful paint to work with. It coats things so well that I don't think I'm going to need a second coat on this, at least not right away. But yeah, very happy with the result of that. It's nicely hidden a lot of the joints and things as well that are in there. I've also gone and finished the rails as well. So this is all the framing that keeps them in the windows. And yeah, so I think this is moving along nice and quickly. Hopefully I can get these back in relatively quickly, because honestly, this feels too bare to me now. I'm looking at the window going, where did it all go? So hopefully I can get that back in nice and quick. Okay, I think everything has had a sufficient amount of time to dry now, the paint on these. So let's get them back into the window and bring it back to life. And once again, the door is back intact, looking more splendid than ever with the freshly painted panels. Very happy with the way those turned out. They, of course, are going to have to come back out when we go to do the door, but for now, we put them back in because we do have a retreat coming and we'd like them to be seen.
They look fantastic.
Yeah? Happy?
That's a cheery thing after cleaning all the bedrooms.
You got that sound? We're doing things by sound. Crin. But when I say crénu, have I really respected the sound of That's important. Don't disturb the sound. Now, voir, I'm going to come back to.
On va mettre un plat à la courgette
Oh, ok.
avec une vinaigrette tomatée et une chips de jambon sec.
Nous allons présenter les vins de Bergerac. La dégustation se déroulera en anglais pour nous assurer de la bonne compréhension de la culture viticole française. Cependant, vous avez une lexique de vin pour vous aider avec les termes, quelques termes liés au vin, quelques vocabulaires.
But if I was to say, have you come across Bordeaux wine since Million? Yeah, everybody has. And therefore, that's one of the big challenges for Bergerac. And that does go back for centuries. It's not just a recent thing, it goes back centuries. It really even goes back to the 12th century, was when Ellen of Aquitaine, if you know French history, if you're getting into
I love her, and I have not obsessed over her for these guys yet, but they will get a full versing in Eleanor. Yeah.
So, Eleanor,
Long may she reign.
a very tough woman, I would say. She married the future king, one of the future kings of England. And in doing that, most of the large swathes of the southwest of France became English, or English rule, let's say. And that happened very much here. And with Bordeaux right in the middle of that, and with a very successful port, Bordeaux became basically the English vineyards for over 300 years, right up until the end of the 100-Year War, which is sort of into sort of the 15th century, as it were. So they became very savvy merchants, and also what they did was they put sort of protectionism on Bordeaux wines. So they made sure that Bordeaux wines, all of these vineyards here, were sold through to obviously the UK or England, and England had a quite significant colony back then, so a lot of wines were going through. And what they did, they made sure that any wines from Bergerac or Cahors or any further southwest, that they would stay on the port and not be sold until they sold all of Bordeaux. Okay. We'll get into this as we go along. It's not, I've been trying to learn appellations for the last 100 years, or the last 20 years, so it's not something you're going to learn in 20 minutes, that's for sure. But we will learn a little bit more about it as we go through. So I'll lead by Bergerac. So now we know Bergerac whites will have to be a blend of 2 of those 4 grapes that we grow. And we now know this is a blend of 60% Sauvignon Blanc and 40% Semillon. But this is very typical for a French appellation wine, where it tends to lead by the place. And if I'm a French wine buyer, I buy by the place. I buy Bergerac, I buy Saint-Emilion, I buy Côte de Rhône, I buy Montrachet, I buy Champagne. Semillon, you're getting the aromatics to start with, you're getting the Semillon, those sort of stone fruits.
Steve and I are having a bit of creative fun.
Yeah, so we are going to offer a week-long reading residency.
Yeah.
So sort of, there seems to be a trend right now, people just wanting to escape and have time to read their book.
Right? No interruptions, no having to make supper, no having to do the laundry.
Yeah.
Just like dedicated reading time.
And we thought, what better place to do that than a chateau in France?
Right?
So, yeah, the idea is we will provide food and room. And
Oh, not we. We will not provide the food.
that's true. It'll be chef-provided food.
It will be our friends at Cell Hospitality will be providing the food.
Indeed. And we love those guys. The food is phenomenal. You will feel truly pampered every single day.
Yep.
And then just a quiet place, lots of quiet places. This is the idea is, the chateau obviously has a ton of different spots for people to sit, whether it's the dining room or in the lounge or in the hall or on the terrace or out in the property somewhere or up in the tower, who knows? But there's all kinds of different fun areas for people to sit and just enjoy their book.
You can be communal, you can be solo.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like you can read your fantasy books in a fantasy environment.
Right? So this little first vignette we're setting up, I'm trying to extend to the flower arrangement I did last week. We're just going to kind of get a corner of it in the photo. But I've got the 1909 edition of my Pride and Prejudice right there, you can see. It is still a truth universally acknowledged. And then setting up the gourmet feel.
Yeah.
And then let's go set up a couple of more spots, shall we?
Yeah. So I'm going to take some photographs as well.
Okay.
I got my camera out, so, we'll try and take some photos of these vignettes for our posts and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, let's take you through the process of, setting up these kind of vignettes around the chateau.
Yeah, and how just easy it is to Instagram, because, Instagram's so easy.
Only takes lights and tripods and cameras and
staging and thought, and it's fine.
It's all good.
Speaking of which, I'm just realizing we should put like the crystal pichet of water in there too.
Okay.
Extra.
Let's do that.
All right, so for my Instagram shots, all the shots, I want the book to be front and center, right? Because that's what we're aiming for. So I've got my camera set up here. I'm just gonna rearrange things a little bit so that everything's in. And it's such a small screen, I'm finding you really have to squish stuff in to make this work. But
What joys of photography.
it's like little tiny things, right? Like I don't want the page to look bent. It's all the details.
As a creative director myself, I have spent a lot of time in photo shoots, staging things, setting things up. And I know I once spent, I think it was an hour placing crystal or acrylic ice cubes in a glass of whiskey just right. And we could not get them to sit the way, we couldn't get them to sit to look naturally, surprisingly enough.
There are those artificial ice cubes not behaving naturally.
Yeah.
Steve setting up the shot. Check the lens cap is on. That's about as far as my photography skills go.
Too close.
Too close. So we very carefully got the beds all made up for the guests. And now we're going to dishevel them just a little tiny, that much. To stage the shot.
It has to be done.
Yeah. I want the book to be the center of the focus. But right now the pillow's kind of the focus because it's the biggest thing there. But if I take it away, which I will show you, then you've kind of got a distracting just gap towards the door, I think.
Yeah, it needs some more color back there.
So, I don't know, is that enough? Or is it?
Yeah, that's better. And what I would do is lower.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's duh. Sometimes I get stuck, I just kind of like, this is the thing, and it is set up like this, and it couldn't possibly be moved. And then someone comes along and is like, well, you could just move it. And I'm like, that's a crazy idea.
But yeah, it's funny because it's one of those things as a graphic designer, like,
yeah,
I'll do a logo and I'll spend hours working on the logo and I will think it's the best thing ever. And then I'll look at it the next day and go, no, it was crap. And you've got to get comfortable with throwing it out and starting again.
Yeah. I'm also realizing we could film, don't zoom in now, we'll film it in 4K and I can zoom in then when I do the edit.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That was a tip from our friend. Haha.
Yeah.
I'm listening. See, Mark?
Yeah, there's pre-production and post-production, right?
Yeah.
So, obviously getting these things set up, getting the shot done, but then you can always adjust things in the computer. We can, lighten, we can darken, we can,
Exactly.
add
Yeah.
some saturation, that sort of thing. Although I don't normally use saturation.
No.
Illumination.
Okay.
Illumination, not
And shadows.
saturation.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, I do tend to lighten shadows a little bit just to brighten things up. It's a great day today, but we're going to try a couple things outside.
It's gray but bright, which sometimes makes for good photography, I am told, by our creators who are coming, like Rebecca and Thomas like to film when it's like this,
So the trick of it is you don't want to be in bright sunshine if you can avoid it.
Right.
Because you end up with hot spots in
Okay.
your photography. A gray day is perfect for neutral photography,
Yeah.
but it also it's just not sitting right. But it also just it washes color out, or can
Okay.
wash color out a little bit, which is one of the reasons why. It depends on what you're shooting, quite frankly. Like, if you want really fine detail, like for example, if I'm going to photograph my paintings, this would be a perfect lighting for that.
Okay.
Because it doesn't give me hot spots. It makes everything nice and flat.
Yeah.
And when I take the photograph, I'm not going to have to worry about adjusting colors. But when you're trying to get some contrast, like the page here, you want a bit of light highlighting on one part of it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or some, light glinting off the tea, then it's not the best weather to do that in.
Okay.
It's those sorts of things that are,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I'm learning. So Steve wanted to bring in a couple of extra books to make it look like a to-be-read pile, and then realized it was just 2 copies of Mansfield Park, because I've got my 1857 and my 1909, so I wanted to bring out the candle, but I think there's just enough of a breeze that's, unless we're going to get really lucky. We'll try it. That's a fun thing. It's try chef.
That's it. At the end of the day, it's all trial and error, right?
Yeah. It's just a hint of blue sky coming out there for us. Alright, go away. I'm going to read now. Go away. Love you.
Yes,
Bye.
I think that's going to be the theme of that week. Really, is going to be, thank you for the wine. Now go away.
Now go away. Okay.
So I want it to feel like, somebody is, flopped down on the bed and got the book on the pillow and,
Right. Pile of pillows to cuddle into.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. All right, tell me about this vignette you're setting up.
So I just want to try and get all the textures in here, sort of that idea of lying on the floor with a pillow and good book, but with the bed in the background. Can't see the book now.
That is the downside. The really tricky part about working with mirrors is not getting yourself in it. No, wait, you're blocking me right now. So you move out of the way. And then I can wave at the people. No, I don't even know how to wave at the people. Is that me? Wait, there we are.
Yeah.
Now I gotta get me out of the shot.
Actually kind of reflecting in that mirror.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Oh, I see. Okay, so if I go, now I'm directly in line, but if I go somewhere in between,
now you've got the image.
now I've got the portrait.
Yeah.
Thank you to all our new and old subscribers. We are just 35 away from 30,000. Wouldn't that be an amazing milestone to break? Thank you all for joining us on this journey, and newsletter subscribers, check your inbox for the announcement about the reading retreat.